Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. This is Raj here, friends. It's earning seasons again, and I've started working on our watch list for earnings. Today, I'm going to talk about CRISPR Therapeutics earnings, which is due on either 20th of February or 22nd of February, one of those two dates. I'm going to provide you my thoughts. It's going to be granular. I'm also going to talk about EPS, and I'm going to talk about a whole lot of qualitative things that we have to look forward to in the earnings. Let's get started. Welcome back, friends. Here are my thoughts about CRISPR Therapeutics. In terms of financial performance, I think we should expect stronger revenue growth driven by initial sales of Casgevy. But in a sense, that's what the market is expecting because they have pegged an EPS of 0.06 positive, which is a huge stretch from what they did in Q3 2023. But I'm thinking that it's going to be a huge stretch mainly because the approval of Casgevy happened towards the end of 2023, I think in December. So I don't think they would have sold enough to improve their EPS that much. And we are also looking at potential milestone payments from existing partnership and licensing deals. So those are the things that I'm looking forward to. And in terms of earnings, despite not yet being profitable, we should look for narrower losses compared to previous quarters. Initial sales of Casgevy and cost management may contribute to this improvement as the street is expecting. But in my mind, I'm just looking at cost management because it's a good management. I'm thinking that cost management can contribute a little bit, but I'm discounting any Casgevy earnings in the Q4-2023 earnings for CRISPR Therapeutics. Then I look at the cash burn. Cash burn and runway remain crucial. Though the recent direct offering of equity provides some runway buffer, investors will assess burn rate against progress and future plans. There is an interesting dynamic at play because the huge short pressure was due to expectation of equity dilution. Now that equity dilution has happened, we should see a 5% drop in share prices as per the analysis in my previous video. The stock briefly touched $90 and slid back down on Friday to end at $82.22. And now looking at pipeline updates, updates on sales figures and patient experience for Casgevy and market feedback will be highly anticipated. I'm not talking about the sales in Q4 of 2023, but I'm talking about any color that CRISPR Therapeutics can give because we are now in February, so they would have already done a couple of months of sales of Casgevy. So if they could share some color about that, that's what I'm looking at. Positive feedback on that would help the market and could significantly boost investor confidence. And we'll get some indication on how to estimate future revenues from this product line. If you recollect, in the same situation, Bluebird had refused to give any forward guidance, and they said they'll wait for a couple of quarters. I hope CRISPR doesn't do that and instead provides us some metrics for estimating Casgevy revenue for the future quarters. And then I'm interested in looking at other programs, update of CAR-T therapies, gene editing for other diseases, and their CRISPR platform. It will demonstrate the company's long-term pipeline strength. And it should be noted that the latest equity offering was made to explicitly fund the CAR-T and diabetes therapies. Both are now wholly owned by CRISPR and are in advanced clinical trials. So in terms of competition and partnership, I'm looking forward to their commentary on how CRISPR Therapeutics plans to differentiate itself amidst competition, particularly with Bluebird Bio's Zynteglo and other gene therapies. That will be important. It will also be interesting to hear about their conditioning system if they could provide some updates. And in terms of partnerships, updates on existing partnerships with Vertex and AbbVie will be very interesting, and potential new collaborations are crucial for revenue generation and pipeline advancement. Expansion of their network remains key. So in the partnership section, I'm looking at some commentary on how the relationship is with Vertex post their breakup with CTX 211. That's important. And remember, their marketing director was explicit about searching for partners for pipeline items. Maybe they found a partner or very close to doing so. Some information on that would be very interesting. In terms of regulatory developments, I think while Casgevy's approval is already out, updates on regulatory progress for Other pipeline candidates, especially CTX112, will be of interest because FDA put a black box warning for autologous CD19 CAR-T therapies. We could hear from CRISPR about whether they are facing added scrutiny in the clinical trials for CTX112, despite being allogenic CD19 CAR-T. So the issue with autologous CD19 CAR-T cell therapies was that FDA was able to detect cases where they had malignant CAR-T. And that means that the CAR-T that was introduced into the body, like the body has T cells, and when you modify it, it becomes CAR-T. If you have a malignant CAR-T, then that's a big concern. So in my mind, I am thinking that if allogenic if autologous CD19 developed malignancy, then that tendency should still persist in allogenic CD19, because I suspect it could be because of the virus vector that is used for doing the modification and creating the chimeric receptor. So I'm very, very curious to hear from CRISPR Therapeutics what kind of impact it has had on FDA's approach towards looking at the clinical trial for CTX112, which is an allogenic CD19 CAR-T. So I hope you guys have understood my concerns, what I'm looking forward to. And that feedback, if they provide, could have a material impact on the share price. Because if they turn around and say that there is additional scrutiny and FDA is asking for extra information in order to prove that the same problem may not happen with allogenic CD19 CAR-T, then expect the share price to have a little bit of a hit. So that's my personal opinion, not financial advice. So please remember that, do your own due diligence. Don't just take any financial decision based on what I am saying. I'm a retail investor. Let me remind you that. The outlook for 2024, I think I'm looking forward to the guidance from them on financial and operational parameters in excess of what they did in JPM 24 conference, because they provided substantial information in the JPM 24 conference, and I already made a video on that. What I'm looking forward to is that since then they have come up with a equity issue. They have diluted equity by 5%. They have rededicated themselves to CTX211, which saw the departure of Vertex and ViaCyte. So there have been developments, and I would like to hear from them how that impacts on their burn rate. So those are the things that I'm looking forward to. And if they could give us some idea about Casgevy and the plans for the US sales, and also the profitability timelines for various therapies, their growth strategies, the specifics of how the company plans to achieve growth beyond Casgevy, such as expanding partnership or advancing other therapies. This will be crucial additional information. As it is, they have said that they're going to search for partners for the pipeline items. So I would look forward to hearing something about that in the call. And of course, then we generally think about manufacturing. But in this case, I would like to point out that Casgevy is already contracted to a third party for manufacturing, and they are scalable. And we'd just like to know something about the cost structure so that we can estimate the profitability of Casgevy. Right now, we are navigating blind. We don't know the cost of Casgevy. We don't know the profit margins out there. We need to have that kind of information. Hopefully, they provide the information, or some analyst on the call asks for that kind of information. So we will get that. That's what I'm hoping for. Another area of interest is the current state of play in the CRISPR-Cas9 IP. I'm saying that because recently they, on approval of Casgevy, Vertex went and bought CRISPR-Cas9 license from Editas. So if we keep that in mind and note that Vertex is a partner with CRISPR Therapeutics and also paid licenses to CRISPR Therapeutics, what I want to find out is whether the industry looks at both CRISPR Therapeutics as well as Editas as two sources from where they have to buy IP in order to bring a legit product into the market on monetization using CRISPR-Cas9 license. Or they are looking at just Editas, or if there is a backdoor negotiation between CRISPR Therapeutics and Editas, so that they can do a common front and share the IP revenue. Those are the kind of things that I'm looking forward to hear from CRISPR Therapeutics in this conference call. If they don't mention, I hope some analyst or the other would ask the questions. Of course, I can want to ask for the moon and more. However, the earnings call will be relatively narrow, and I'm hoping my questions are good enough that some analyst on the call may ask them, or CRISPR themselves would address it in their call. Overall, I think it's a great company. Remember, the EPS expectation is stretching. Here's what I would like to say about the stretch for the EPS. Let me show you my spreadsheet, which is a work in progress. So if you can see in this spreadsheet, what I have done is I accumulated all the information about Q2 actual EPS and revenue, Q3 EPS and revenue, and estimated EPS and revenue or actual for 2023, Q4 2023. And this is for all the companies in our watch list, except a few, like I've avoided Bionanogenomics and Arrowhead. Now, if you look at the numbers here, let me just quickly explain to you. All the cells that are green show that in the respective quarter, the companies had done better than expected, better than the estimate for EPS and revenue. And wherever it is red, those are the places where there was a shortfall in performance as compared to the street expectation. And all the yellow out here indicates that these are all expectations, and the green out here shows that these are the actual for Q4 2023. So for example, if you look at PACB had a negative EPS of 0.023 in Q4, which is a very good improvement over the previous EPS, and but it was negative. And that means it came below the expectation of the market. And now, if you look at the revenue, it was 57.472, and because the cell is green, it means that it came above the street expectations. And the very next day, the share price fell 13.94. If you look at Illumina, came in better than expected, both in EPS as well as revenue, but its revenue is less than the previous quarter, and EPS is also less than the previous quarter. The share fell 3.84% post earnings. So that's how I have organized this spreadsheet, and I also got analysts' remarks, something that I find common among many analysts. I put it out here. So let's look at what I have got here for CRISPR. It's going to report either on 20th or 24th of February, and in Q2 it came above street expectation, overperformed at minus 98 cents per share, with a revenue of 70 million, which was also above expectations. And in Q3 of 2023, it had a EPS of minus 1.41 per share, which was better than what the analysts expected. It had zero revenue. Analysts had expected some revenue. This was zero. So there it was a disappointment. But in Q4, there is an expectation of 0.066 per share positive, which means it's a stretch of almost $1.47 as compared to the previous quarter. So that's a huge stretch. And I don't know if there are enough cash-heavy revenue to spur this, and there could be a little bit of operational tightening that can also help. But I don't know if CRISPR is going to be able to meet the expectations here, unless they had some huge revenue coming in for IP licensing or a milestone payment. And next, if you look at the revenue, the expectation is 140.55 million for Q4 2023 for CRISPR. So analysts are expecting strong growth in CRISPR Therapeutics, but competition is increasing when it comes to sickle cell disease as well as beta thalassemia. And also, for that matter, CTX112, when it comes out, it's going to compete in a very crowded field, even though it is allogenic. So those are all the factors that the analysts are concerned about. And I told you what I am looking forward to and what I am concerned about. That said, I don't know. Can CRISPR deliver, or will it fall short? I think it may fall short if that is the expectation. If any of you have got EPS expectation that is different from 0.06, please put it in the comments. I have taken that number from TradingView platform, which produces these expectations from the analyst. And please let me have your feedback about what you think of CRISPR Therapeutics, their upcoming earnings, and do you think the price is justified or do you think it's overpriced? What do you think is the target price for CRISPR Therapeutics, probably for next week, end of next week? I'd like to hear from you. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.